Hello and welcome to Higher Ground Gaming. This is Eric. Today we're going to do another board game unboxing. A game we just picked up. It's a game we've been looking at again for a while. But it was a little pricey at the time. But we decided to pick it up right now because it's basically only 40% of its original price that is offered at. So we decided to pick it up off of Amazon and add it to our collection here. So it isn't a game off of Kickstarter. I think it was on Kickstarter at one point, I believe. But it's a game by Chara Games, and it's by Heath Stockburn, and he also did the game commissioned. It's a asymmetrical game with 4 different powers. You have the Romans, the Jews, the Coalition, and the Christian. So it's it does have some religious theme to it a little bit, but it's got some very good mechanics in it. And again, some asymmetrical powers, to it. Some dice rolling, some set collection, card management type stuff. But each faction has its own unique way of winning. And there's a couple of different ways you can win with it. I think you have to get, it's the first to 7 victory points. But again, there's couple different ways. There's different ways each faction, gets those points. One of them is the same and the other one, is different. It's faction specific. It's a 2-2, I believe, 4-player game. If you're playing 2-player, then you play as 2 of the factions. And there's certain conditions at which 2 factions you can play together, because they don't all, it just say they have 2 different, they have different ways of putting the factions together, to make it balanced, I guess you could say. Some say that the Romans are overpowered in this. Again, I don't know. I haven't played it yet. But some say don't seem to notice that, or a lot of those that say that it may not be. It's just that they just haven't had enough playthroughs for the game. But anyway, without further ado, let's get to the unboxing here. So let's check it out here. So yeah, so asymmetrical strategy, faction, objectives, dice management, and card-driven combat. So maybe not set collection. So there's different ways, paths to victory, let's just say. So let's read the back here. So Rome is fracturing. Turn the tide of history. So 54 AD, Nero's rise to power has paralyzed the Roman Empire with political intrigues. Sensing an opportunity, Jews and other oppressed people take steps to regain their freedom. At the edge of the empire, Germanic tribes, that's the coalition, Germanic tribes, Goths, and Parthians, those are the coalition, put aside their differences to push back against the century of Roman expansion. Meanwhile, a small but determined band of Christians challenge the religious and cultural traditions of everyone they meet. Choose your faction and lead them to victory in the battle for the soul of the empire. Okay, so there you go. So again, the designer is Heath Stockburn. The developers are Patrick and Catherine Laysot, looks like. Graphic design is by Keith Spond, and illustrations are by Larastislav. Came out in 2018. So all right, again, well, actually, it lists for even higher price than it was being offered at $55. So we got it for less than 40% of its original price at $20. So definitely a good deal. It plays 2 to 4 players, as we said. 14 years and above. It is a little bit a higher age curve to play it. It's not recommended for 0 to 3 years, as it's got some small pieces to it. It says it takes about 2 hours. I'm not sure if I believe that's no matter what the player count is there, since you're always playing as all 4 factions. I guess in a 4-player game, you play as obviously just one of the factions, and I'm not sure how it plays exactly with 3 players. It may be 2 players each get 1, and then the other one gets 3, or it could be played maybe, possibly, I don't know, sit together. But we'll find out as we go into the rulebook, possibly, so we'll see. But there are a couple of playthroughs on it. I know Game Boy Geek does one, as well as I believe, I want to say Sam Healy does one too from Dice Tower. Well, they're both affiliated with Dice Tower. And there may be another 1 or 2 out there. I think there are. Not full playthroughs, but at least partial playthroughs. As you can see, there's some nice meeples in the game. Each faction has its own set of unique meeples and set of player cards. And again, each faction, depending upon who they're battling and what's going on, there's different rules governing each one. So definitely a very asymmetrical game, which we like. So all right, so let's open it up here and see what's inside. As I throw the scissors. All right. Okay. Yep. Alright, there we go. Alright, so let's see what we got here. So first, of course, we have the instruction manual with the rules. So it basically says, I think this might be something different up here. Yeah, let's read this, I guess. This is something kind of unique. 54 AD Rome. After years of scheming, intrigues, and marriages and convenient deaths, Agrippina the Younger has succeeded in putting her son, Nero Claudius Caesar, on the throne. While she still has her mighty legions, the contested succession is yet another strain in an overextended Roman Empire. Internally, factions throughout the empire see potential openings to regain their freedom. Among them, Jewish priests and zealots pasture for open rebellion. Externally, Germanic tribes, Goths, and Parthians can't agree on anything except their hatred of Rome. So you're never going to play Rome, and if you're playing a 2-player game, you would never play as Rome and the coalition. You would play as Rome and one of the other factions. An emerging coalition offers them a unique opportunity to push back their frontier of empire. Meanwhile, a new faction known as Christians is challenging everything about Roman, Jewish, and coalition religious beliefs, and is expanding door to door, city to city, and region to region. Select a faction, pursue your objectives, and join the battle for soul of the empire. There you go. So, alright, so it looks like there's something we can scan this for online stuff. They can teach you how to play in the instructional video. I believe there's a rules school too through Game Boy Geek also. Alright, so let's check this out here. Some components right here. Breakdown of the components. And I know there were some that didn't like the rulebook the way it was laid out for some reason. So here are the 4 different factions here. You have your Roman faction, your Jewish faction, your coalition faction, and of course your Christian faction. And it gives the sponsors of each one of them. It looks like Ryan Ritter is the Roman sponsor. Then you have Jewish sponsors Ron Bernard. Coalition sponsor is Daniel Boudreau. And Christian sponsor is Preston Venderweest. Thank you to our sponsors. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what that is, but alright. Maybe they helped develop it or something. Alright, so you have your game set up here. And your map and everything. And along with your 4 different faction cards there, which we'll get into as we open it up. Order of play. And then how to play some examples. Move units, rescue units. Initiate combat. So different phases of the game. Resolving combat. And claim an objective card. I know that's one of the ways you can get victory points there. Designate, die, or purchase power cards. Block or unblock objective coalition only. Claim an objective point marker. Increase rage, that would be the coalition only. And scoring a claimed objective card or a claimed objective card or claimed objective point marker. And then faction power cards. Each faction has its own unique set of power cards, and ways you use them. And then here are the power card details, so a summary of all the cards and when you can play it and what they do. So looks like it starts with the Romans there, and I think that's the, I want to say the Jewish possibly. And then you have your this one here. Looks like your, I'm not sure which one that is. If that's the Christian, looks like it's, yeah, it looks like it's the Christian one maybe. I don't see the coalition one. Maybe the coalition do not have the cards for some reason, but we'll see. You have different two-player rules. Again, you can, so player A chooses Rome or the coalition, and then player B gets what they didn't pick, and then picks either the Jewish or Christian faction. So you'll never have the Rome or in coalition together, and you won't have the Jewish and the Christian together for balance reasons and everything else. And that's it. That is the rule book. Not too many pages. It's looks like it's 16 including the back cover. So 15 basically. Alright, and here are the nice player cards here, which are really cool. These are nice thick cardboard stock here. And let's see if I can close it up here. So this is where you're going to roll dice for each faction, and then you're going to put unspent dice here, and you're going to put spent dice here, power card dice here. It kind of works, I believe, kind of like poker hands. Like you have to get runs and pairs, and 3 of a kind, 4 of a kind, that kind of stuff. And then basically goes through the setup for each faction and what you do. So very nice there. Your power cards you got to put underneath here. Your power card draw, power card discard, scored objective cards, and unit supplies. So, and then over here it's a combat card discard and combat card hand. So, alright, so very nice. So that's the Jewish. And then you're going to have your, so I believe, I'm not sure exactly what they do there, but the Romans, as you can see here, they have something where you, because I think one of their conditions for victory is to capture 25 units, I believe it is. So unspent dice area, spent dice area, same thing, power card dice, and then the same things around the play and how you play the Roman faction. It's very nice. And there is a backside of this too. It's just one is male and one is female. I don't think there's no difference in them other than the artwork, I believe. So there you go. And then you have your, let's see, Christian ones, I believe. So it looks like they have to convert, I think, 18 in order to win. That's that's their victory conditions. And then there's the male side there. And then finally the coalition, which are kind of a unique faction. They have like a rage meter, rage track. So they're not trying to convert or kill, they're just trying to, I'm not sure exactly what their conditions are to win, but let's see. I think they have to capture certain regions is what it is. I think Rome and the other, maybe Venice or something like that, one of the other cities there. I think, or maybe just the whole Italian continent there, Roman Empire there. And something else I think is their victory conditions, but very nice there. Nice artwork and everything. All their rules of play. And then the female side of it. And we have the board, which I'll set up later and show you that. But each faction has its own colored dice. So kind of like Marco Polo. Each faction will get its own colored dice, and they're nice chunky dice, rounded edges. So very nice. Looks like I think you get, I want to say you get 5 dice of each. 5 die. Yeah, looks like it's well, maybe not 5 die. It looks like the white die, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. Actually, yeah, and I only see 4 of the yellow die for some reason. 5 of everything else though. So maybe I'm wrong. I know the Romans is red. The Christian is white. There's 5 of those. Yeah, so I think the yellow might be for something else, but it looks like there's 5. There's 4 factions of, so there's red for Roman, blue for Jewish, as you can see here. Looks like yellow has 4, but I believe that's die for other things, for another mode of gameplay. But it looks like all the 4 factions have their 5 die. Alright, now the really cool part of this, check that out. It's going to be the meeples for each faction. So this is the coalition right here. So these are the coalition meeples, the green ones here. So this is pretty standard, nothing too special about coalition meeples, but these are where it's going to get it cool. And I think there's a disc for, well, maybe not for these guys. And then these guys have the, these are the Jewish ones right here. Some cool ones there, and they have disc here, which you got to use for playing. I think each one of these should have a disc for the victory point tracker, I believe. So there's probably one inside the coalition one. I'm just not seeing it. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe they don't get the victory point condition thing. Alright, and then you have your, and I know these are associated with the Jewish, so I think you can unlock the these guys here to go with the Jewish faction at certain points, so they get reinforcements. And then you have your Christian ones here. So the Christian ones are the praying ones. Kind of really neat looking ones here. And then they have the discs too right here. Okay, and then finally the Roman ones, which are neat. So it looks like they get a shield right here, and they have armor on, so that's pretty cool. So these are the Roman ones. There's a whole bunch of these. And then you have just basically your cards after that. You have your objective cards. So let's open up these and check these out. And again, we'll be sleeving these. I don't think these were linen finished, but we'll see. Which again, if you sleeve them, they don't really need to be. If I can get this open. Let's see if we can get our scissors here. Open these up. Maybe. There we go. Alright. Yeah, I don't think these are sleeved at all. But they're okay. They're a little thin. But, so these are combat cards, and it looks like these are for the, I think, Jewish ones, maybe? Oh, no, these are the Christian ones. The fish, of course. So these are the Christian cards. And, I think it's with a Christian, depending upon what faction they're fighting, they're lower. You want to score the lower numbers for victory for them against certain factions. So this one says immediately after combat, you immediately place one of your, after this combat, you immediately place one of your units in the territory from any source. +1 combat strength against coalition. If you lose, then you lose all but one unit. So there's different things in here. For resolving combat, move one of your units out of the territory into an adjacent territory. This can leave you with no units left in this combat. And basically on the bottom it shows when you can use these cards. So, and it depends. You can use that to start against the coalition. You can use main against, I think, maybe everybody. And then in the end versus the Romans here. And then this can be used during any combat, start, main, or end against any factions. So it tells you when you can use this stuff right here. So it looks like the yellow is for the main gameplay there, phase. So alright, so these are the Christian ones here. So you get a whole bunch of these. And it looks like, yeah, some of these are specifically combat. Right here. Looks like you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 combat cards. And then you have other ones you can use at various times during the game. Alright, so then you have your coalition here. It looks like you don't have too many of the coalition cards. These are just so the coalition just has combat cards. So if you win this combat, you may immediately move any number of units into a combat territory. Into one adjacent territory does not count as plunder. You may still plunder. Cancel any combat card, plus minus modifiers in this combat, and so forth. Again, if you want to stop it, you can look at some of these cards. It looks like that's a blank one. Just 6 combat strength. Alright, so those are the coalition ones, and then you have your Jewish ones here. The Jewish has a whole bunch of cards too, so let's see there. So they're similar to the Christian, it looks like. Looks like they have their own set of cards, and they have combat cards, so they have, these are the combat ones. So when you discard this card after combat, you may take a different combat card into your discard pile back into your hand. You may add 1 unit, any faction from an adjacent territory into this combat, and so forth. Again, a blank one. A couple blank ones, it looks like. They're probably not the strongest militarily anyway. And then you have... Oh, hold on. Alright, sorry about that. And looks like here you have your High Priest. So these are the just regular cards. And again, it can shows you when to use them. Start against Coalition. Main, I think, against anybody. And then the end versus the Romans. And this one you can only use, it looks like, main and end against anybody maybe. And start just against the Coalition. So there's different uses of these cards, which adds to the variability of the gameplay. Oh, hold on. Sorry. Alright, so there you go. So yeah, lots of different variations for the cards here. Okay. And then, let's see, these are the objective cards. So these are different ones you're going to try to bid on and stuff, and you can block and cards here from other factions. So it looks like each faction has a different thing. So if you're, so it looks like if you're Roman, you have if you have the sole occupancy of 3 blue territories, you get this. This is the Jewish Christian one, so you must have played 5 power cards to gain this. And I think you get one victory point per objective card that you gain. And as soon as you get it, you can take this. But if somebody else is already on it, I know there's conditions against that. You may be able to like steal a card from somebody or by occupying it with a die or something. But anyway, if you look at the rules school on that one through like I said, through Game Boy Geek or other sources, you'll be able to see that. All right. So anyway, yeah, so just different cards here. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those, but there may be some more in the other decks. I'll have to take a look at those. It looks like there is another set of cards here, so there's probably, yeah, there's more of them over here. So. All right. So I know these are bonus cards through, there's another game called Unauthorized, which they produced. It's a bonus card for that game. And then this one is for, I know it's for, might be for the same game. It looks like it could be. And then these right here are for the other game that game commissioned. So some event cards for that. And then this is for another card game here, which they produced. So some bonus cards for their other games. And let's see what we have here. And these are player aids right here. You have your combat resolution cards. So each player will get one of these. And it looks like special victory conditions. So the Romans, capture 25 units and they win. The Jewish sole occupancy of the blue region, which is, I think, the Israel area there. Most of that. And then the coalition sole occupancy of Rome and Italia. So it's the boot, basically. They gain condition of that. It is a winning condition for them. And Christian is you convert 18 units and have at least 1 unit in Rome, Jerusalem, and Germania. So, yep. So there you go. All right, and then here are these are your Roman cards here. So, again, the Roman cards, when you can play them and everything. This is play with a combat card. The value of your units is doubled or reduced to 0, your choice. Because depending upon who you're battling, you either want high or low. So that's why you can do either one there. And this one is keep in your play area and add up to 2 captured units from your faction board to fight in your behalf prior to selecting combat cards. Return units to their faction supply and after combat. So again, just various different conditions and stuff you can use this in. These you can only use at the start against the coalition, but during the main and the end, either you can't use them at all or you can use them against anybody. I'm not sure exactly how that works there. But I'm sure the rule book and everything explains all that stuff. So again, these are just the different Roman cards, and it doesn't look like they have, they may not even have a blank one. But they have a ton of combat cards. These aren't actually combat, that's right. These are just condition cards here. Alright, these are the combat cards, so let's take a look at the Roman ones here. So, this has got an X on it for some reason. I don't know if that means 10 or whatever. This card is always, it's always equal to the value of your opponent's cards. Okay, so that's why it's the X there. As an attacker or defender, if you lose this combat card, then you may immediately combat the same player in another territory of your choice. And then this one's just the blank one, but with 6 on it. After combat is resolved, the opponent removes 1 unit from their supply or their board and places it in your captured area. So, yep, so it's different. Another blank one there. So these are the Roman combat cards, and it looks like a few more, actually quite a few more, objective cards. So you have a ton of these, it looks like. So that's good. So lots of variability in this game. Let's just look at a couple of these. So 8 units in your captured space, you can claim this card. 1 unit, that's for the Romans. For the Jewish, it's 1 unit in every territory surrounding Pontus Euxinus. And then here's Jewish is win combat with gray units in this turn. And again, it's 1 victory point for these. So it doesn't look like the coalition can win this way. I think the coalition just wins by capturing territory. So they don't have a objective card victory point condition. So they probably have some other type of thing to win. So yeah, so a bunch of these. So that's cool. And nice little insert here for everything. And I'm going to break here and actually I'm showing you this on the side of the box here. So this is for the game Commission, which is probably their most popular game. It's definitely a game that's also been on our radar. And yeah, looks like just Commission here is the other one that they mentioned. So alright, so let me set up the game board and I'll show you that. Alrighty, so this is the game board here. As you can see, this is the different maps of Spain and Rome and Israel area, modern day Israel, Turkey, all that stuff, northern Africa. Up top is the I'll show you. So up top is the draw pile. You're going to put the draw pile for your objective cards, and you're going to put out, I believe, 4 objective cards. And as you can see, it's just 7 victory points to victory. Victory points to the winner is declared. This is where the Goths will start, or the coalition, as you can see by the symbol here. The Romans will start over here in this area, of course. The Jews right here. And then the Christians, I think they start with some around, in this area. Yeah, in Jerusalem right here, as you can see. But again, it shows you where you put the different, you're going to put different discs or troops in each area, depending upon where you start with. And you're going to have some coalition over here in this section. and then other regions up here. So yeah, so that's pretty much it right here. Definitely a colorful board. At first when I saw it on the reviews, I didn't really like it that much, but it looks better, much better in person here. So I think it's very, very functional, and the colors stand out from each other. So when you start playing, so that will, I think, be a good game board. So decent quality and everything like that. So that is pretty much it. That is Soul of the Empire by Chara Games. Again, looking forward to getting this one to the table. So yeah, so that's it. So hope everybody has a Merry Christmas. We still got a couple more other games to unbox here. We'll show you a brief showing of this. So that we have our Terraforming Mars trio there. Well, 2 of the games were off Kickstarter, and we got another expansion for it. And then Feast for Odin, we got an expansion for that. So some more stuff goodness to unbox there. So that's it. It's been Eric from Higher Ground Gaming. Take care, God bless, and we'll see you in the next unboxing video. Bye-bye now.